Hello everyone, I'm here again with another video. As I promised, try to do a video every week now if I can. One week would probably be about sports, another week would be about beer. Um, Even though I'm drinking a little bit, they got the light. Here we go. Drinking that today, and gonna talk this today about sports. I'll do a video about a boxing what if. I, before I really started liking football, I've always liked football, but before I started liking football, my favorite sport was boxing, and unfortunately, it's not anymore. There's just too many bouts, too many bullshit, and even back then there was bullshit back then in the day too, but it's just out of control now. And to me, in my mind, boxing is just, it's dead. It has been for like the last, excuse me, at least the last 15 years now, maybe even possibly even more. But yeah, it's just really sad. I remember as a kid growing up, every time you heard about a fight, the build up to it was like a Super Bowl, it was bigger than a Super Bowl really. When I was a baby, I remember. I don't remember a lot of it. I do kind of remember where I was at. I was at my grandma's house. Um, I remember my older cousins were swimming. She had a pool, one of those doughboy pools. Um, it was a Leonard Hagler Leonard fight, and I was only a year, barely gonna be a year old at that time. But I remember where I was at, and now the older I gotten, I realize now what fight that was, and I mean I don't remember a lot of stuff from like even last week or a few days ago, but I do remember that. It's crazy, it's unbelievable, but I do remember that. Kind of, and since then, my whole life, almost just about, I've watched boxing, well, except like again, these past 15 years. I try to watch it here and there, see if I know about some of the fighters nowadays. Manny Pacquiao obviously is one of them, but he's at the end of his career now, and Mayweather, of course. A lot of these guys now, DeAndre Wilder, Triple G, Canelo, obviously. So I know about some of the guys that fight today. Joshua, big heavyweight Joshua. So the Klitschko brothers, I can't believe they're still fighting. But so I know about some of them nowadays, but I don't watch it. I wish them well and everything, but I don't watch it anymore. I haven't watched boxing for a long time now, and every time I try to peek my head in, watch a fight here and there, I can't get into it anymore. So it leads me to these things like this. When I was growing up, heavyweight division was the whole sport was popular, but especially the heavyweight division was really popular back then in the late 80s, early 80s to about mid 90s, and then it kind of tailed off. Like in the early 90s, it was really exciting. And one fight I would have loved to have seen at that time, of course, Tyson Holyfield, when they were originally supposed to meet, like in 1990 June. I believe it was like June 1st, June 18th, something like that, of 1990. If Tyson wouldn't have lost to Buster Douglas, and I don't know, who knows how that fight would have gone, but obviously those two did fight, and we all know what happened. Holyfield pretty much dominated Tyson, and which was a surprise to me. I knew Holyfield would fight Tyson well, but I didn't think he would dominate him the way he did, and that was pretty awesome from him. And but the fight I really want to talk about today was a prime Mike Tyson of 1987, 88, probably 88 when he fought Spinks and knocked him out in the first round. That exact Mike Tyson in his pinnacle versus Riddick BOWE, and was the first Holyfield fight probably, or maybe even the fight before that against Pierre Coulter. I would say the first Holyfield fight, that Riddick BOWE versus the 1988 versus Michael Spinks, Mike Tyson. I think this was the time that both these guys were at the very top of their. Because Riddick Bowe, after that first Holyfield fight, was never the same after that. He looked heavy in his fights. He never looked sharp again. And except for one fight when he fought Jorge Luis Gonzalez, he did pretty good in that fight. But other than that, he didn't look sharp at all in any of his fights after that. I think he just lost his. Didn't lose his hunger for food or sweets or anything, but I think he lost his hunger for just the sport and hanging on to the championship. And it sucks because, I mean, a lot of these youngsters now, I mean, I'm still young too, but a lot of the people that are younger than me, like, I'd say 26, 25 and younger, don't know who Riddick Bowe is. I don't even know if younger than 30 if they know who he is. And Riddick Bowe he was silver medalist in the 1988 Olympics. Also, Lennox Lewis. I look back at the YouTube videos, not taking anything from Lennox Lewis. He went on to be a great champion himself, but I really questioned the referee's decision in that fight. But hey, it is what it is. Both guys were fighting hard. Lennox Lewis happened to land a couple of hard shots and gave Riddick Bowe a standing 8. And if you guys know, I don't have to go over it, but yeah. Lennox Lewis ended up knocking out Riddick Bowe. Even though Bowe never went down, Bowe was in never serious trouble. He ended up losing that fight to Lennox Lewis in the Olympic Games in '88, and those two guys are supposed to fight. I'll do that for another video, but today I want to talk about Tyson and Bowe. This fight, man, two Brooklyn guys, New York guys. Brownsville. That's what the town was called, Brownsville. Two badasses, and I think that would have been a great fight. Bowe, I think Tyson would have had his hands full on this fight because Tyson, he did fight in the inside, but Bowe, I think, was more effective, especially with that uppercut. And he was just a big guy. He would non-stop throw punches. You guys, this guy was. In his prime, he was a machine. He was a punching, throwing machine. And I think this would have been a really hard fight for Tyson. I think it would have been a hard fight for Bowe too because Tyson, we know with the head movement, the quick punches. Tyson was in his time, in his prime, was very dangerous too. He always fought up against big guys, so this wouldn't have been anything new for Tyson. But except Bowe. I think he's the best big man fighter I've ever seen. Him and Lennox Lewis both are like right there. It's a shame those two never fought, but Bowe was just a non-stopping. Both these guys were non-stopping punching machines in their primes. And I don't know who would win that fight. I really don't. But if I had to pick a winner, I'd pick Tyson. But Bowe, it's hard because I like Bowe a lot too. But if Bowe were to beat Tyson, that it would not shock me at all. Bowe was a badass, you guys. He really was. Look up Riddick Bowe against Riddick Bowe from probably like 89 to 92. That's when he was at his very best. Tyson, of course, from 85 to about 88. So. If these guys would have fought, it probably would have been like in 92 if Tyson would have never gone to prison. Maybe even 93, but I think 92 might have been the more. It would have been juicy. It would have been really exciting to see. Because we know when Tyson came out of prison, Bowe was already, on his decline. Tyson had a nice little run, but I mean the opponents he had were easy opponents. I don't think that fight wouldn't have been as great as it would have, been in the mid 90s as opposed to the early 90s. So, let me know who you guys would think would have won that fight. Like I said, I would have picked. I was 6 years old at the time. I probably would have picked Tyson, but it would not have surprised me or shocked me if Bowe were to pull off the sort of upset, I guess. It wouldn't surprise me if you were able to pull it off. But I mean, if you were to do like in first first, second, third round. I mean, if it's like a Hagler Hearns thing, where the guys are just nonstop throwing punches, now it's very possible with these two if they were to get it on. Then maybe something like that could happen, or early knockout for any one of those guys. But probably more for BOWE, because I think Tyson, if the later rounds he would have gotten tired. I think BOWE's stamina in his prime was a little bit better. Tyson, we don't know, because his fights always were short. And so anyway, when he did go 12 rounds, the guys were just holding on to him and wouldn't fight. And Tyson would try to fight, but the guy wouldn't fight. He just, like Bone Crusher Smith, just ran around, or walked around, I should say. And Tony Tucker went the distance with him, but didn't do a whole lot to earn a victory. And Tyson was always applying the pressure, and so both these guys were pressure fighters, good fighters. BOWE's jab was devastating, probably the best jab I ever seen in my lifetime. And so yeah, let me know who you guys think would win this fight. Let me know what other versus back in the day fighters you'd like to hear about. And they need to come up with another boxing game, man. It's been a long time. I haven't bought a boxing game since probably Fight Night. Excuse me. Probably since the old Xbox. Probably I think it was like Fight Night 2005 or something like that. And I wanted to get the Fight Night round 4 with Ali and Tyson on the cover, or was it Fight Night Champion, something like that. But I didn't get it. I still don't own a 360 to this day. So, but yeah, eventually I don't play games a lot. Like I don't play games at all hardly anymore. But yeah, it would be cool for them to come out with another boxing game. I have a good idea for a boxing game. So if you guys need ideas, hit me up. Let me know. But yeah, Tyson BOWE would have been a great fight, especially in the early 90s. And let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, and what else you guys like to see. And I'll be back with another video next week, but we'll do beer next week. So don't know what the beers are going to be yet, but try to make sure it's something I haven't done on the show yet. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thanks for watching again. Take care, and God bless.